Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to start to go over today the 2024 Streets Management Plan, which is a multi-year plan that discusses the PCI, which we're going to refer to PCI a lot. It stands for Pavement Condition Index. And Kimley Horn provided this report for us. And I'm just gonna say at the beginning that we had a meeting with them this morning and our PCI is 90, which is the highest they have ever seen of any city that they've done this for. So while a lot of us that live in town, like the roads are, they're pretty bad in a lot of places. If you were to compare them to other towns and other roads, they're in much better shape. I think they normally see like a 50 to 70 PCI and we're at a 90. So that bodes very well for us financially. A lot of these repairs will be done out of the TBD funds, which is from the gas taxes that we get. Transportation Benefit District. And so we definitely do have funding to do repairs that we are going to work together with the council liaisons for the Public Works Committee to determine which repairs we'll do, what we'll put out to bid. So that's really the purpose of what we're going to do to work together with this report. When Kimley Horn came out, they had a apparatus on the bottom of a car when they drove all of our streets, and that recorded things like the cracks where the road pavement is alligatoring. It didn't take into account where the road kind of feels like a roller coaster in some places. That's not part of what they did. It's pretty obvious to us though, where those are worse. And so we'll be able to incorporate that into what we're doing. They also did side of the road vegetation. And we've got information in this report where it is in need of being repaired because the vegetation has grown to the road and it's starting to erode it. So those are things that are in here as well. We also had them get a good inventory of the pavement markings, like all of the stop bars in town, which is it's about a foot white long bar at all of the stop signs. So and crosswalks, they've got all of those. That information is recorded. Trying to think any other big key ones.
Pavement preservation was an important one. I don't know if they determined, I can't remember, for the reason for the rolling, whether it was logs, especially on Ocean Shores Boulevard, or if it was simply just because of the sand conditions, or both.
Right, yeah, I think it's both. So the different repairs, I'm gonna go over the different kinds of road repairs. And the first one I'm gonna talk about is slurry road repair, and also known as slurry seal. Pavement maintenance technique that involves applying a thin layer of asphalt emulsion and water to existing asphalt pavement. And a good example of this is if you've driven on Ocean Shores Boulevard recently, right at the intersection of tourists, they cut some out and put, actually, I don't know that they cut it out, but they put the darker asphalt there. And that's an example of the slurry seal. So that's what they did there when you see the black asphalt pavement over the cement. It is really good for preventative maintenance and cost effective. Benefits are it seals cracks and voids. It restores surface texture. So it did fix a lot of the bumps that were there. But what we didn't do is dig it all the way out and pull up potentially what was under there causing the issue. So it is a short-term solution. It is not a long-term solution. It does extend the pavement's life. And it, like I said, it is very cost effective, and it's not a structural repair because the structural repair is what we call a base repair. That's when you would go in and you'd have, and we do have some structural integrity issues where the road isn't compromised, but you can feel the bumps when you go over it. It could be weak soil that's underneath of there and it continues to sink. I've heard that over the years we've got driftwood, that was never removed before some of the roads were built, and so it's driftwood that's sinking. Eventually, we're gonna know, right, because we're gonna pull all of that up at some point. It is, the base repair is excavation and removal of the damaged pavement and the underlying base material. It is really getting to the point of addressing the cause and rebuilding the base and then repaving. So we've got the slurry, which is a little, it's less of a repair, but it's a good for the moment now repair. And then the base repair is the major repair where you're gonna dig it up and actually fix the bigger issues.
Is slurry seal a synonym for chip repair? Chip seal?
It's not chip seal.
Okay, so it's a different product altogether.
Yep, different altogether. And then we have crack sealing, which kind of speaks for itself what it is. One thing that I did learn recently is that cracks need to be between 1/4 inch and 1 inch for the crack seal. If they're less than 1/4 of an inch, they're too small to use the crack seal on. So benefits of the crack seal, it can significantly extend the life of the pavement, reducing the need for more extensive repairs like patching or resurfacing in the future. And I know that we do have a crack seal program that Alex does with the crew. So those are the major type repairs. I think, oh, actually, overlay is the fourth one. Overlay is also known as resurfacing. And that's a pavement maintenance method where a new layer of asphalt is applied over an existing asphalt surface. And there's different thicknesses and different mills. And this is the pavement preservation type program that Ocean Shores has done in the past before I got on board. But this is what Nick Bird and Robert Lund did many years in a row in different areas. So based on our PCI, we don't need a lot of overlay repairs done. We don't need to do a lot of paving on top of our asphalt. So if you would turn to, if you have the Kimley Horn report, it's page 28. And it's on the screen. So this is a really good map that shows different costs depending on what we decide to do over the next 5 years to keep our PCI at 90. So that's why it's my favorite chart on here, because it's pretty black and white. This is the average of what we would need to fund each year to keep it at 90. And then throughout this report, it'll say, or if you funded this much over this many years, you're gonna go to 85. And 85 is still definitely acceptable. And then there's also a if you do nothing scenario in here as well. Any questions so far?
What is our fund accumulating every year?
It is accumulating. That I can get a definite from Sarah, but I know that there's over 2 million in there right now. And
There's 2.6 in the transportation benefit.
Yeah,
Think.
I think you're right. And it does, to me, it's a pretty significant amount every year that it brings in, because when I first started, I think it was under 1 million. And that was 2.5 years ago.
Mhm. And is that,
It's obviously not accumulating 2 million a year.
no,
No.
but I wonder if we had just used it. Because I think Nick Bird did use it for something in 2019, 2020, and then we didn't use it when after COVID started, I believe.
That sounds right to me. And I'll find out from Sarah.
Best case, it might be maybe getting it towards 1 million, but I don't think it was that much.
That's possible.
So anything you do here have to be supplemental.
And so I wanted to hear from the council members, how do you want to use this report? And totally fine if you need more time to do a deep dive into it, because this is what we're going to be doing at the Public Works Committee meetings going forward. We'll supplement some other things into, but this is the main focus of what I wanted to do with you guys this year, because we haven't really taken a master plan or a document and worked with our council liaison to come up with a plan and put together the work that we're going to do. in any of the committees or boards that I've been to, yet. So I really wanted to see how that's gonna go. And, I didn't introduce Alex Severson as our street department crew chief.
For those who don't know him. Is there something we still need to do to finalize this report? Because it's still, I believe it's still tentative until such time as what we say it's done, or council reviews it and says it's done, or
It's done.
it's done?
Yeah.
Because last time we spoke, it was sort of like, this is the draft of it. Did we make significant changes to that draft or no?
We didn't make significant changes to the draft. I think it's a great report.
Alex, do you want to say anything about it, or?
No, I think just all the dips and everything, but you already covered all that too. You said that really wasn't taken into consideration, which now that you said that makes sense, because that was the only thing I was really gonna bring up was all the dips.
Mhm.
It really covers a lot of.
And do we notice that there's more on the south end of, you move farther south from the north end of the city? Have you, it seems like it to me, but that might
Yeah, it
just be.
seems like it, and a lot of the ones that we fixed in the past, like she said, have been like driftwood just deteriorating.
Mhm.
It creates a dip in there.
Yeah,
There's been quite a few areas that have had overlays too, but they just start to dip again.
I noticed it seems like the farther south and the farther west you go in the city, you get it more. And I don't know if that's because the ground is just more sandy soil there, if it's because they originally, when the trees got brought down, they were just kind of like left there, or some combination there.
So another item that Kimberly Horn went over with Scott and I this morning, and Alex, I'll go over it with you also. They have a website, and we'll bring it up at our next meeting here so I can show you all how it works. But we can basically put in, if you look at, for example, there's not a page number on it. There's maps in here. If you look at page 29, after page 29, it's the appendix. That makes sense. So the maps in here, they'll show you different things. The first is, what's asphalt, what's concrete, what's a bridge, what's a gravel dirt road. And then, the next map on here is the actual PCI results. So while Ocean Shores has a PCI of 90 for our roads, there's obviously some roads that aren't a 90, right? So this is the breakdown of what all of the roads have. You can see on that one.
Page appendix what?
A2, A3, is that what you're looking at?
So on this one, you can see that there's some roads like Short Cutty, up in the northwest area of the city that have a PCI of 56 to 70. Which is,
That's on A3?
Yeah. Yep. And the 56 to 70 rating is fair. 41 to 55 is poor. And then it goes down from there. 0 to 11 is failed. We don't have any that are failed. But this is a good map that'll show us what we would want to work on and need to work on first. You can see that East Ocean Shores Boulevard, down by the wastewater treatment plant, I think that's what that road is. That has some yellow on it as well, making that fair. And then the next, which is A4 in the exhibits, this one breaks out the weed abatement and shoulder erosion from the vegetation that we have. And then the city pavement marking locations. This is really, it's just letting us know that they picked up markings on these locations, and I can go and find them on the website and see which ones need to be replaced and which ones are good to go. We have a lot of crosswalks that need to be replaced, like one in front of the convention center. I know that one needs to get redone. And if anybody's not in town today that's online, we are redoing the roundabout markings today. And that should be done by the end of the day today. Then on A6, it's a list of all of our signs, city signage locations. And then Appendix B. This is all of the streets. And you can see it's got the from and the to, and then it lists the length and the width the square footage and the PCI of each road. So you can see the actual number of that road. And it's really small font. I apologize for that. But it is a really good breakdown of what the actual numbers are, just more detail than what that map was. And we have that for everything they reviewed on their drive. Any questions?
Lisa?
I don't have any questions. Thanks for asking.
You asked specifically what you think council wants to do with this.
Yeah, what do you, just off the top of your head?
So my opinion is it starts with, what do you and administration thinks acceptable?
Mhm.
Anything we do is either going to be equal to or lesser than we already have. So
Yes.
using your expertise, you've got to tell us, guys, we need to have a long-term plan to stay at 90. Or we need a long-term plan to not ever go below 85. Whatever it is, we need to rely on you to give us direction. Obviously, we don't want to have the roads go backwards, but we need to have a plan, right?
Mhm.
And then once we have a plan on what's that acceptable number, we work it backwards into that chart that you gave us that talked about the costs. And for me, the first thing I would want to do is take out of the proposed expenses that are listed right now and figure out which of those roads that are showing expenses here might possibly be repaired by the Army Corps.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that we take that off of our hypothetical budget to then decide what is the real budget, assuming we get reimbursement from Army Corps for fixing basically Ocean Shores Boulevard, starting at Point Brown all the way and around East Ocean Shores and Sportsman. Then we would have a reasonable, okay, this is our worst case budget, or I shouldn't say worst case, best case budget. And then work the math based on what you guys say we want to be. If you guys want to be the ones that go, no, we don't need to be at 90 anymore. We live with 85. That's going to save us money. So it's just a mathematical equation.
In the back, they do have the proposed plans. Has everyone seen that for 2025, 2026 for what they are recommending we do?
Yep.
So,
And then that said, again, just math, we need to know exactly how much we're getting from the benefit district money every year, which we know is probably not even $1 million. The benefit district, remind me, it's part of the sales tax.
For the county, I think.
county sales tax,
Local gas tax.
no, is that LTAC local gas tax?
I think
Well, we get about 10 grand a month local gas tax.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember if that goes into TBD. That's what I
Right.
don't.
I don't know what cubbyhole that goes into. And then it's a matter of where you guys propose the funding from. And if we get it down to where, like right now, no offense, even at 86, you're $2.5 million a year. It looks to me like we're best case scenario, looking for $1.5 million a year to keep our roads up so we don't have another LID. What does that look like? What does that look like? Because right now, we don't have $1.5 million in the general fund. So we either start attacking it slowly or we cover our head in the sand and, just let some other administration worry about it.
Yeah, which that's not what we want to do. Like what we were talking this morning, and I don't want this report to be a report that we did and then have it sit on a shelf. Yeah, so that's,
Really kind of, for me, three steps. What's reasonable?
yeah,
What are we getting every year? What do we actually need to focus on based on the percentage you come up with? And then let's get a plan, whether we like it or not. We got to have a plan.
yep, yeah, so I think our next step would be Alex, Scott, and the mayor and I drive around and drive the 90 streets, the 80 streets. And get a feel for, like Councilmember Hartman said, what's acceptable.
Yeah, what number can you live with going down to?
So are some of these things in this report, did we already vote to take care of it? Because we just recently at one of our meetings, we went through some of the street repairs and voted to take it out of the transportation district. So are some of these issues, have we already allocated the money to take care of?
This would be what you
Yeah,
took to the.
so that was all like water main repair.
Yes, exactly. I didn't think it was for any of their road repairs.
I think there was like a few just general like
Mhm.
repairs, but nothing I don't think that was on the Kinley Horn Streets Master Plan itself.
Although, and this is small, that section of road on the boulevard by Taurus, that shows on here is needing to be redone. So that would be something. I mean, that's obviously, that's small beans, that's one little section, but a lot of those items like that will get done in chunks. But Lisa, to your point too, on the website that they showed us this morning, I can go in and make changes and pull that out because it's already been done. And then it will update our financials on here for what we need. Yep. And as we go through and do these projects, the more projects, I'll go in and update and. Yep. That's what I've got to start with for this. And it sounds like we've got next steps.
Yeah.
We'll drive some roads.
Is it, you've already done it once. Do we need to remind council to the other 5 members to look at this again or to give them another copy? Or
Yeah, we can.
so they
we
can
I
have input?
Do a Public Works and Projects update in July for council, and I can incorporate this into it. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, they just need to make sure they actually
Yeah.
like read it this time,
It's no, it's been a while and
in a few months. You have other things on the agenda, or can I ask a question or two?
That's everything I had on the agenda.
How are we doing with the sewer fund study? We were kind of expecting it back by now.
Yep, they're finishing it up right now. They need a couple more little pieces of information from Sarah. I saw that email come in on Friday. Today's her first day back, so I expect she'll get that information to them in a day or two.
Have they given us any kind of an idea how great or ugly it might be?
They have not given us an idea of how great or how ugly.
Okay. And along with that, I know you're talking about a public works director. Boring stuff of making sure all the other fund balances are reasonable for the projects that you've got coming forward. Just hope that we're focusing on that, just like this, this report here, you know.
Yeah.
We know the money, where it's at and what we probably got to look for $1.5 million a year minimally to fund this.
Yep.
What about all the other ones?
Yeah, and we do have, council will see coming forward, 2 sizable projects for the wastewater treatment plant. The Headworks channel, I got really good pictures of that last week. That is going to be.
glad it's pictures.
Yeah, that's pictures worth 1,000 words. That's gonna be redone and the screen is gonna be replaced, the Headwork screen, which collects things that shouldn't go into the pond. And we're getting a much finer mesh, so that'll help our
Water
equipment be much
quality,
more
yeah.
efficient. Yeah,
I don't want to say, I'm guessing, as I think we're ending the life of the items that we put in there for
Mhm.
operations. Do we have any, do we have a wish list of, as we replace these items, we're gonna replace them with machinery that maybe cleans our water even more so that, I mean, there are actually some municipalities that clean their water to a hypothetical drinking water level of clarity, cleanness,
Right.
whatever. Do we have equipment that's aging that when it's time to replace it, we have some choices of same level of cleanliness versus we could
or making
increase
it
the,
better.
right, making it better?
Yeah, I can talk to James about
Yeah, it's
that.
really a James question. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's kept us in the loop on but I don't know about his long-term
Right,
vision is, but.
Just as we talk about fresh waterways and, you know, hypothetically, if we started the process of having equipment that would support it, what would it be like if we put drinking level water
Yeah.
quality back into the fresh waterways to help with what happens?
yeah,
You know, just other cities do it,
yeah, and it makes sense to
just all money.
make it better than stay status quo, because,
But if it's, you know, $2 million to fix it the way it is, and it's $3 million to fix it with better quality, maybe we make choices in the future.
Yeah. Agreed.
No, there will have to be a large discussion on what we're gonna do with our fresh waterways division, as we're gonna call it.
Yeah,
There's a number of ways we can go with it, but we do want to get started sooner rather than later.
yeah.
And everything's good with the golf course pumps now? As
And
far
it's
as-
all, it's all working. It's all working.
Anything that the golf course did in non-maintenance that caused this?
Those a bunch of different things. So you, do you want to do it? You probably might know the story more than I know that it was like they didn't even have a manual for the old pump, that
Yeah, I don't
it was,
know.
the pump had completely aged out.
So, yeah, I helped the water.
Go ahead.
Just from, they obviously have more experience with the pumps and stuff on the water department crews, so that's kind of why they worked on it rather than the street departments, but I helped Ricky and his crew with it. And just from what I've saw, like, maintenance wise, like, something as simple as like the pumps being greased, like,
Right,
there was bolts put in like where the greaser fittings were supposed to be, and there was like grease over it. We were like, oh, we're gonna grease it. There's not a greaser fit. No, yeah, so just silly stuff like that. It definitely needed maintenance, and it looks like there was no maintenance done on anything there.
so now we think the current crews, we're starting at zero again and we know what to do every year.
I think so, yeah. I don't know, like, what kind of crew they have there at the golf course now.
There's been a lot of turnover, so
Yeah.
it's hard to.
That would be a crew that mows.
Yeah, our guys will
I mean,
be
no
doing
offense.
the greasing and the prep for the
Yeah,
winter.
Public Works
everything.
is doing it, it'll definitely be done the right
Yeah,
way.
I wouldn't rely on the golf course. That's so above their pay grade.
I know Ken's doing the carts still for them.
Okay.
So that way we can save some money and they don't have to have them taken out. They can just take them across the street to our mechanic and,
Perfect.
We've definitely taken over a lot of the public works
yeah.
items that need to happen at the golf course, our crew.
Because when Kurt did do it himself.
Yeah.
And whether it was extremely well done or moderately well done, it's hard for me to say.
That's why you see notebooks. It's all up there with him.
That is why, exactly. Mhm. Like, I'm sure he's got a manual somewhere at his house or something, somewhere, but, you know. Anything else, Lisa?
I had a couple of questions, thanks. Since we're not having a meeting this week, we typically get like an update on our city's 4th of July preparations, but could you just let me know how your department will be supporting the big weekend that's coming up?
We have a lot of signs that they're gonna be putting up for directing traffic, and then I'll let Alex say what else is happening. Is there anything else?
Well, the Jersey barriers go up there on the Chance Approach. There's all the fireworks signs. There's gonna be 2 dumpsters at the Chance Beach Approach. I know last year we had to take the one from Taurus, and that was kind of a little bit of a challenge because then we didn't really have anything down there. So there will be 2 dumpsters there at the Chance Approach, and then there'll be 1 dumpster on each other approach. We have more Santa cans, porta potties this year, and they are gonna be cleaning them twice a day. Throughout the weekend too, so that should help mitigate a lot of it. And then I know there's a little bit of a traffic plan. We're gonna do a little bit of shutdowns and redirecting traffic, which should help traffic immensely. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I
I
mean.
think 4th of July is good to go. I think there's still some questions on Hog Wild, but I think that's it. But I think 4th of July, we're settled on what we're
You
doing.
coming to the Hog Wild meeting today?
Is it today?
Yeah.
You probably should,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
How are we doing with the facility plan? I know the whole plan was based on the mayor hiring a carpenter and a electrician,
Mhm.
but we haven't really heard anything in the past.
I.
I,
6-8 months.
I can help. I can help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's gone back and forth. The union has agreed in theory to let us go to our, and it's not hiring a carpenter or electrician. It's like, we can just take them
Pull 'em out of the-
We can pull them out. Exactly. So, that's what we've been waiting for. That's the big moment. Dane has tentatively given us contractual approval in writing, but he's gonna let the union members vote on it still. I don't know. If he's already scheduled that, Alex, has he reached out to you or no?
I haven't heard anything on that
Okay.
matter.
So this has just all happened in the last week or two, but I thought we were actually done. At one point, I was very excited because Dan said he'd agreed to our language changes. And I'm like, great, all right, let's go. But then there's been a little bit of a break. He still wants to take it back to the union to have them
Okay.
discuss this matter.
I'm sure none of them want to do those jobs. So it's like,
Well, yeah, I
Don't
don't,
be that hard.
I'll TBD that one, but
I haven't been really involved in that.
yeah.
It'll be exciting to get started on the.
Oh, no, we know that, we know. And of course, we've got a meeting about our South Station that we're moving down there
Station.
Yep,
now.
yep, that south station, we have, there's 4 different bids out right now. One for the actual move of the building, one for disassemble, reassemble, and the repairs that need to be made, one for the electrical work, because we didn't want to do a subcontractor markup with the GC, and then, clearing and grading of the site. So we have those 4 out now. We're gonna put another one out for the floors when we get closer to the work being done, because that's one of the last things that's gonna be done anyway. And then, remember when we did the Plymouth event exhaust system a couple years ago? We're gonna put something similar in the other station. Yep. So, because we'll still have 2 vehicles parked down there. So we're gonna put that out to bid shortly, and it seemed like there was another one. But it's gonna be a good number of small pieces of the puzzle to put it together and get it going. And I talked to Brian Ritter this morning, and there will be, one of the decks stairs will be an ADA accessible ramp, so we'll make sure to get that in there. Addendum is going out today, so that'll be. So. But it'll be nice to have a South Fire Station.
How does the process then start to make the agencies or the ruling? I don't know who establishes fire ratings. There's no question that everything south is at an 8 minimally.
Yeah, so that's a
How does
group
that-
that comes out, that's an outside group. And Brian Ritter can probably walk you through that process, but I remember when they come out here, they do evaluations and it really is based on call response time.
Right.
So if anything over 5 minutes, because I guess a fire doubles in size every 5 minutes, and then after that 5-minute window, it starts to become an untenable thing, and then it becomes, you're no longer, you're doing a loss after like 5 minutes. So that's kind of why it's a 9, because I guess it takes about 9 to 10 minutes to get down to the far south end of the city, with our
Okay.
current crews. And Ritter can walk you through all the details. I just know it from having heard it.
It's almost like they would be
They are an agency that they come in, and then your insurance company sees that ISO rating that is given by this outside agency. And then they make the insurance choices as to how safe you are accordingly, right? So if we can get that open, that will lower everyone hopefully back to a 5, because we will have a 5-minute response time. But then that's a staffing issue now, right? So
I was gonna ask, are you going to be needing to ask council for a few more positions?
I am not prepared to answer that at this moment. I know that they're doing
Safer grant.
that's looking at a safer grant. They're looking at some things. And it's a question that we can ask. And I know they're doing hiring for back positions right now, because we've lost a bunch. So it's not just even, it's like, it's such a weird world, because I mean, my brother was a firefighter, and when he used to go into test, like, there'd always be 500 people testing for 3 slots. And now it's like, there's 1 person testing for 3 slots. I mean,
500.
I just don't understand how that, I've never seen a career trajectory change that, where everyone wanted to be a firefighter and you could never get your foot in the door, to like, now we just can't get people. It's very strange. I don't know why. But the kids at North Beach should be applying for our street department too. Like, how many,
They're coming, getting ready.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, well, we gotta get back next door. I know we got another meeting, unless there's anything else.
Hey, I had one more question. Did we resolve the watering issue at the parks too? I saw the notice went out that they weren't getting water, but did that get fixed too?
End of the month, right? Wait,
So we did start on the sprinklers. Chinook Park is on.
oh, it's back on again?
the
Okay.
Gates and part of the boulevard.
Okay.
Once we get back to the point where we can work on it again, we're gonna get all the other ones going.
And the million tank, where are,
He got whatever that was with the pump and all that.
so is it filled?
I don't know if it's filled. That would be a question for him. He
Alright.
said it was fine though, so.
That was our problem.
Yeah.
We lost one of our 1 million gallon tanks that went offline. We didn't have the water, but apparently it's
Problems with
working again.
VFDs and-
Okay.
And I think that last year around the 4th of July, I know that we had a hard time keeping up with water, like our 3 million gallon tank and the 1 million gallon tanks. The water department was just like working to keep them filled. And I think that last 4th of July, we stopped watering the parks, so that may happen again until we get caught up after the 4th. And I think it took us, last year, I think it took us like 3 weeks, but I think we're in a better position now. And we can give that update too at the first council meeting.
And the sprinklers are normally kind of a little, like, you get it going, but then you kind of have to go through it all, because you have heads that don't come up and you have
Right.
engines, so it does take a little bit of time to fire it all up every season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Yep.